Squatch-D TV, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatch-D TV, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal. Squatch-D TV, take us on your quest. Find the legend, put the rumors to rest. Late at night, shadows creeping. Deep in the woods, secrets lay sleeping. Oh yeah. Squatch-D TV, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatch-D TV, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, September 11th, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, with my co-host right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's up, my brother?
Steve, it's good to see you, man. How are you doing after your procedure? Is everything working out okay now?
Well,
looks like you're feeling a little looser.
I am feeling a lot looser. Yeah, I just feel like I obviously there's a burning procedure, so
yeah,
there's a little bit of scarring going on in there, and it feels like I just been karate chopped in the old junction there, but nothing to cry about, no pain upon that. It's more like like a bruise almost.
Right.
Like I got a bruise on my neck, but other than that, no issues whatsoever. So we're doing pretty good.
What doesn't do us in makes us stronger. I think once you get recovered from this, it's going to help you a bunch.
So I will say this though, it was one of the most incredible pain because I did it without sedation.
Ooh.
And people are like, oh, I did it without sedation. I'm a tough SOB. I didn't cry. I might have a couple of times. That's about it. But
not me. I'll take the shot. Thanks.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And like I said, having that father who was raised in the Great Depression, Patton's Third Army,
right?
He learned. He taught people when you're in pain. He was kind of funny like that. If you're upset about something, it's okay to cry, but if you're in pain, don't cry.
Yeah.
Like if you have a loss or something like that, but if you're in pain, you don't cry. You suck it up.
That's right. Buckle up, Buttercup.
That's right. You
take it.
So, and like I said, I'd still be working if it was just pain. But the fact is that I have diminished. I have a diminished capacity right now because if I go back to work, I could actually cause more harm to my spinal cord.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Right. And I've been given specific instructions that if I do go back to the gym, which I plan on because I need to get my core strength back a lot, that will actually hopefully that'll force the discs back into place.
Yeah, well, don't rush yourself, bud.
No. Well, it's been.
You have that procedure and you start feeling good and you go out and start doing stuff, you're going to end up doing some damage. You got to watch out. Be careful.
I got to take it in moderation, but
There you go.
it has been. They've been sitting there now for a little over 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's time to. Yeah, it's time to start getting. I have been hitting the weights at home a little bit, but I need to get on that row machine, which will kind of compress that spine laterally to get those discs back into place.
A little physical exercise every day is good for you.
I
don't get enough.
Yeah. Next week I'm getting it. Next week I have an orthopedic appointment. I'll be yapping, and I'll probably be putting physical therapy, and I'll get a workout routine okayed by ortho, and that way I can go to physical therapy, go to my, go to the gym and get myself, because the pain management stuff's over with now. So
take it easy. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yesterday I was pretty beat. I will say that after that whole thing, I literally stood outside the operations center, smoked a long cigarette, finished a soda I had in the car, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here for a half hour, and then last night, and then on the way home, bought myself a bottle of wine, had a couple of glasses of wine.
Well, after we talked yesterday, I could tell you were feeling better, but I also figured, he may end up getting really sore tonight. So, No,
actually, I was sore last night, and it was, like I said, it was really weird because I had a couple of glasses of wine. I nodded off. I woke back up probably about 11:30, and I was up till like 4 in the morning. And it was about 1 o'clock when I realized that, hey, that soreness is gone. And, I got up again at 7 this morning, and they called me at 9 o'clock promptly to see how I'm feeling. I'm like, I feel fine.
Hey, you still breathing? Yeah.
So
today, we got to do the roll call. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get our roll call.
All right, guys, we get to talking, and there we go.
Yeah, we're catching up because I was in Pennsylvania last weekend. And we'll talk about that a bit too. So first in today, Walter Kroll. Hello,
Walter.
Relic Common in. We'll catch us tomorrow.
Relic Common
replay. Pete
H. on the replay, bud.
Don Gumow Jr. Pete. Good to see you.
Huh?
Jen, hello. Good seeing you over the weekend. We'll see you next weekend as well. Fighting the Trackway. There's another one. There's Mr. Bill. Deadpool and Crisp.
Deadpool and
Little Kilroy was here. Okay. There he is again. Of course,
Little Kilroy.
Yep. The Bat Mom. Hello, Bat Mom. Driving in the Tahoe National Forest. Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Arthur Watts. Good to see ya.
Arthur.
Brian Wolf. Yes, we are live now.
Brian. Yeah. Kicking, breathing, heart's beating, I think.
This is Trackway. It was very good meeting you at the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Camping Adventure. We will see you in a little bit.
Bye.
And that's what we got so far. It's been a quiet crowd. We got a lot of lurkers today.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a new one here. Southpaw Pete's Picking.
Southpaw there we are. Pete. Hello, Southpaw. Good to see you. Welcome.
Shoot, yeah. Love to see new folks come in.
Very true.
And hello to all the lurkers out there. If you want to, stop in and say hello if you want to, but every now and then. But it's optional. But, we appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know if I did a little video yesterday, Bat Mom, and literally when they were burning the nerves, and they burnt all the nerves at once.
Yeah.
I literally got this incredible pain from my elbow right up to my jaw and radiated out. Like, what the hell was that? Like a short circuit. Ooh. So they dialed it down a little bit, so that went away. Like, you need to dial that down, Doc. No problem.
Well, I can imagine. So tell me about Pennsylvania, dude. What went on? What did I miss out on?
Well, that's what you missed out on. There's the gaggle of dinner.
The gang.
The only one, I think we're missing Brian Parsons and Rick Fisher in that picture, and Stan Gordon. But there we all are. We're the travelers who came in for dinner, of course.
Is that Mike back there in the back?
Yep, we got Kenny Biddle on the far left there. He's been on the show from
Kenny.
One of the writers for Skeptical Inquirer. We got Mike Ann, of course, Tactical Bigfoot Research.
You back there. Yeah.
Jay is standing in front of him, Jay Pachochin.
Hey.
And kneeling down in front of him is Eric Altman. And behind Eric to the right is Jeff Headley from Mountain Monsters. And next to him is Willie from Mountain Monsters.
Yeah.
And then there's Dave Spinks, who's been on the show, former law enforcement, paranormal, cryptid researcher. Of course, Ken Gerhard. And
well, the way Ken is standing there in this picture, it looks like he's wearing those horns on his head. Do you see that? Do you notice that?
Hang on. Now, I have to admit, I got to find this. Hang on. So it may take me a second. I may have.
Ken, that's a good one, man. He was photobombed there by the cattle horns on the background, or buffaloes, whatever those are.
Hang on. I got to show you this because I'm the one who kind of pointed this out, and I kind of laughed at it.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can find it. But it was quite funny. Oh, there it is. Hang on.
Next time we have Ken on the show.
So anyway, I was like, hey, Jay wanted to get a picture of Dave.
Yeah.
And Dave was standing there, and I'm like, hey, Dave, you need to you need to do this. And so Dave Spinks, hang on, let me just expand this. There we go. So Dave Spinks did what I told him to do, and Jay snapped the almighty picture of that one. And this is the kind of shenanigans that go on these things every once in a while. And here it is.
Yeah.
So yes, we took full advantage of that.
Yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, the trick is to line somebody up in front of that without them knowing it, or without them realizing it. That'd be the trick.
Yes.
But now this has got me thinking about maybe some antlers or some horns to mount on my wall, just for such a purpose, you know.
And of course, there's me and Jay back at the cabin. It was me and Ken Gerhard, David Wickham, Tater.
Oh, Taters!
Yeah, he hung out. He was
I love that
beautiful
guy.
Yep.
Yeah, such a kind man.
There's me and Ken Thursday night football. We were pretty wiped. Of course, not only was I wiped, but I had a full stomach. Hey, and there's Walter Schrum.
Walter.
No little Walt, though. Apparently, little Walt. So, Walt, when you're listening to the replay of this, a shout out to you, sir. And there's me blabbing and yapping. So today, I want to go over a couple of pieces of evidence. This one's been floating out. This is the one we tried to get this done for the last few weeks, but we had the news show, and then I had to run to Pennsylvania, and then. But anyway, here is an interesting picture. No backstory, of course, other than a date and a time. And people were saying this is anything from Dog Man to a Bigfoot. Like, look at the long arms. Yeah, look at the stubby legs. Look at the stubby body. Where the hell is the head? So.
Well, is it standing on his tippy toes or what? If it's not standing on his tippy toes, it seems like it's got a knee joint going the wrong way.
Right. So for anybody, hang on. For anybody,
that's probably where the Dog Man thing comes in, because of the rear knee joint there. Ankle joint, whatever you want to call it.
So this is very clearly a bear. There's the tail. And, again, no backstory.
Yeah.
And then if you look at some examples of bare feet.
Yeah.
You can see the flat-footedness of one
Right.
when,
Right.
and look at both the pictures. One appears to be like each foot seems to be in motion, like the same, very similar way almost.
Yeah. Well, the picture to the right is almost an exact match to the one on the left. You see that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost an exact match. Looks
Yeah.
like the one on the left is a little less hairier, furrier.
Yeah.
But we're probably looking at a mangy looking bear, I think.
Well, yeah, it could be because of the night vision optics as well.
Possibly. Right.
Yeah, that could,
Change the
you're
texture a
looking,
little bit.
you're looking at a black and white picture versus which is going to show black and white rather than, color. So that's why you see more white. So you think it's a less hairier bear. But if that was in the daytime, it would probably be black as that bear you see in front of you on the other sides. So, no, that is not a
problem. That's the thing. The textures is messing with me a little bit. It almost kind of looks like bunched up skin in places.
Yeah, 100% bear. 100% bear. If it was anything else, like if it was a porcupine, porcupines have a light fade to their quills on the ends. So you don't see any of that there in any of those pictures. So I've seen enough porcupines to know as well.
Could it be a troll?
Dun dun dun. So next week,
trolls don't exist either.
Only on the internet.
That's a good one. Man claims to have taken photos of Bigfoot looking into a window at his remote cabin in Washington.
Again, no other side story to this. But here's the interesting thing. We have seen this before. We have seen kind of this before. And it's my contention that we're looking at the same app. The same app that the one guy used that creep yeoman made the screen caps of. But before we go into this, the people promoting this have this secret Sasquatch society. And they make posts like, look at what my sister ordered for a gift for my birthday. And like, this is where she bought it, and then you see this silvery present. So either they own silvery present or they're just affiliates of theirs trying to make money off of commissions. I didn't really deep dive, but but 24 hours earlier, or 48 hours earlier, you bought the same thing your gift came from. And they're, that's all they do is they post, oh, I bought this. Oh, I bought that. Oh, look at what my sister bought me. And then when people say, oh, where can I get one? Boom. Oh, here's the site. So, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's probably a little self-promotion there.
Well, that's all they do.
They're got to make some money.
Well, no, it would be nice. Again, there's another group of people that claim they're nonprofit. Just like the Rocky Mountain oysters. Oh, we're nonprofit.
Well, if they're going to do that, I mean, they could just say, "Hey, guys, we got this new hat out. If you'd like one of these, just order it through the link or whatever."
Right, but
that's perfectly respectable.
Right. But you got to be smarmy and say, "Look at what my sister ordered me for a birthday gift."
Yes, my sister found my website and she ordered a present for me.
So when I see that, I get very angry that you can't even be honest. You got to make this. You got to make it like you're trying to get people curious or jealous.
That's kind of a little dishonest marketing there.
Right. Yeah. So as we can see, the picture they're promoting looks very familiar, doesn't it? Yeah. Lights in the background, out the window. You're seeing just little snippets of the face. It doesn't look very realistic. My guess is this is another screenshot off of some apps, and these are my guesses only. Really. So that's, I didn't have a lot of time over the weekend to go ahead and, really deep dive this one. I did deep dive it a little bit yesterday, and the only references I can get to this are some YouTube videos which reference the pictures that have been put up on the Facebook groups. And it seems like the Sasquatch the Secret Sasquatch Society is posting it everywhere on Facebook, and, people go to their website and then they see their little trinkets, that they're putting up there on a constant, which is fine, but be honest about it for crying out loud. But they're posting, and the same group has a habit of posting all these bullpucky pictures.
Yeah.
And trying to get them to come to their site to take a look at their wares. And that's exactly what it is. You'll see them post videos that have been around for months and years and stuff like that. And some have already been debunked, and they're bringing them up like they're brand new, number one. And a lot of times they're bringing them up, just to, get a pop. That's right, Grasshopper. Okay, what crap am I looking at tonight?
Grasshopper.
And so that's the evidence du jour.
Yeah, this is not too convincing.
No,
pretty wrong, and we think we know how they're doing it, but it doesn't matter because it's not really convincing anyway.
Right. So we were out. At the. So that's our quick reviews tonight. Not really that much to review. At least not. I didn't have a chance to really deep dive stuff, but we did want to get a little short show under our belt and say hi to everybody. Make sure we're there because we haven't been here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But again, welcome to all the new subscribers. We got ton more subscribers coming in. Every day we got new subscribers, and it's awesome. The channel is growing, and we want to welcome everybody. Yep. Feel free to make yourself home. There was one guy, a couple of things I want to hit. First, let's go back to the Pennsylvania camping adventure. There was, obviously they had outings Friday night and Saturday night. Now, Friday night I was too wiped, and truthfully, by Friday night my neck was pretty sore. I was actually like on a 4 on the pain scale, or maybe even a 5, which is a lot higher than I've been used to. And my back was sore, my legs were sore because I'm getting a lot more physical activity between the 8.5 hour drive into the area, running around that evening, and then the next day setting up and I'm on my feet all day pretty much. Even though I have a chair, I very rarely sit. And Brian, you have a great night too. So yeah.
4 o'clock. Yeah, Brian.
0400. But anyway, people don't understand that when I go to these things, I try to give it my all. I try to give everybody my attention, my respect, and my time, because they're coming out to see us, and I'm honored that they do. And it's really one of the greatest feelings. Now I can't speak for what happened on the first night. I wasn't there. I was pretty beat. But I did go out Saturday night, and it was me, Mike Ann, and David Wickham. We took 2 groups out. Yeah. Of course, me and David Wickham stuck behind. And, while we were there, David actually recorded it. We did get can't say unsolicited, because we had tree knocked probably a couple of times, maybe about 30 minutes earlier. And we got one single tree knock way off in the distance at one point. Well, it was just me and David there.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And, but I do know there was a group operating on another ridge. Of course, we're up on the Chestnut Ridge. So I'm not sure if it was them or not. And we did catch some sort of possible vocalization, but I don't want, I don't really want to lead. Anytime you do an outing, a big event like this, like the same thing with Salt Fork. When you go to Salt Fork and there's a Bigfoot conference, how much evidence can you get that may be corrupted, or it's about what you can prove. And there's a great possibility that evidence could be corrupted, because I'm not familiar with the territory. I don't know who's out there. So I can't honestly say that, hey, we got this.
You got to be highly skeptical during an outing.
Unlike unlike what happened last September, where that was a private event. Nobody knew where we were going. I take a select group up there. I had security up there 2.5 hours before we even got up there, making sure nobody was how should I salting the land there with anything.
Yeah.
And when we got there, the security team too had said, hey, you know what? Hey, we've been getting a little bit of activity. We're getting little really weird noises out there. So, and then eventually we had that nice one. And that was pretty much the event for the evening.
Yeah.
And people will ask number one, if it was somebody trying to hoax us, it wouldn't just be that one time.
Right.
They let out a few to get us going.
Right.
Now, in Pennsylvania, that tree knock, we only got that one single tree knock. That was it. End of story.
Right. So it wasn't like a repetition of 3 knocks or anything like that?
No, it was just a single.
Okay.
And it was again, you can hear a lot better than the audio recorders can pick up. So we amplified it. And it's there. And it's followed right up by saying tree knock. Because I always tag them when I hear tree knock, tree knock. Because then you can look at the waveform and you can see where you say tree knock, and that'll spike it quite a bit because you're right near the.
Well, that's single. That's
good to see Iron Dogger.
Iron Dogger.
I see Shane Spencer's in the house too. He snuck in.
Shane, good to see you, man. That single tree knock though, that's a pretty believable situation there. But again, because there may be other researchers in the area, it's good to be skeptical.
Yep.
Brandon, my nephew Brandon had a similar situation like that when he was coon hunting. Their dogs got scared and came back to them, and were just like hanging around at their feet. And they
welcome the Susie monster. The Saturday night hike was great. So she obviously was in our group. It was my first and hopefully not my last. Well, I certainly hope not. I hope you keep at it.
The Susie monster. I like that name.
But yeah, it was quite interesting to get that little howl. And then, of course, Chris, at the same time, I'm futzing with my thermal, which decided not to work that night. And I realized why, because the solder had broken off in the unit because I pulled the plug out and the receiver came with it. So we have a new thermal on the way, but it's not a FLIR Scout because I'm not very high up on those. Number one, they're very, it's very basic. Good question, Kaiju Ninja. Do you think Bigfoot uses mouth pops, hand claps other than wood knocking? And that definitely is a possibility. I would tend to agree maybe a mouth pop though, and I can't do it, or I couldn't do it. Dave Wickham can do a beautiful mouth pop. I can't. It could be that. It could be hand claps. Sometimes if I don't have a good tree, I'll just clap. And that's elicited a response here and there. Yeah, and you know what? That's Walnut where we were dropping. Yeah, but this was way far out. Like if it was a walnut dropping out, I mean, that tree knock probably was a good 100 yards, 200 yards out. So you never know it necessarily, it wasn't like it was close by. And if we had been close by, we probably would have lit it up or, and mouth pops makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And when a green walnut falls out of the tree, and that makes a big noise. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah. And, in New York, we don't have many walnut trees laying around. We have some acorn trees, and they'll drop acorns periodically, but they just like.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, the walnuts we get around here, when they're green, they're about the size of a baseball, and they're heavy. I mean, heavy. I would hate to somebody throw one and hit me with it. That would it'd probably be rougher than getting hit with a baseball.
Yep, and Dave and Jen, they kind of stayed around their cabin and listened and stuff like that, and they're pretty sure they had a visit from a bear. And that's not unusual because the 2017, the first time I was up there, I got the bear thermal. So the very first year I had the FLIR Scout, Hey, I'm not complaining. I had that FLIR Scout for 7 years. So,
well, it put the miles in, you know.
Yeah, sure did. Yep. Now I'm getting an ATN TC160. Not necessarily the high end model. We'll be getting another higher end model hopefully next year. But it's what I like about the TN 160 is it's got the same size sensor as the FLIR Scout, but the screen resolution in the eyepiece is a lot better, has a higher refresh rate. So when you're actually looking through it, you're getting a better picture than you would through the FLIR Scout, and a clearer picture through the FLIR Scout. And it has all the same. It has recording. It actually has a tripod mount, which I really love because now I can put, if I want to just put it on a tripod and keep eye over the same area, and you can Wi-Fi connect it to a phone through an app. So you can control the camera and actually look at the screen on your phone that you have with you. So you can put it on a tripod, stand, 50 feet away and see what's going on that tripod.
Well, when you brought your thermal here last time, I was impressed with it. I'd never seen one before.
And if anybody's interested, just it's an ATN or AGN. Was it ATN or AGN, Chris?
Oh God.
Yeah, I forgot myself. Hang on.
I'm dyslexic. Don't ask me. Yeah. AGT, AGM.
Actually, hang on. I think it's an AGN.
Yeah, there's too many letters in there. AGM, I think it is.
So I'm just trying to get that up because
America's Got Talent. Yeah. Trackway says AGM.
AGM. Yep. Right. Yeah.
All good, man.
Correct. So it runs about $325 on Amazon, but I found out that if you go to AliExpress, you can get it for as low as $232. So, and it matches. If you watch the YouTube reviews on it, it's a little heavier by a couple of ounces over the FLIR Scout. So it's well built, constructed very well. It's waterproof. It's a little bit slightly larger than the FLIR Scout, but it's still able to hang around the neck and be able to put in a pocket. And like I said, has the same sensor size, but better resolution in the screen. You can Wi-Fi hot. It's got a tripod mount, takes video pictures just like the FLIR Scout. Has 4 palettes instead. I think the FLIR Scout has 6, but really I usually use white hot or black hot. And the other thing too is that it will range what you're seeing where you're seeing that hot spot. So if something is 60 yards away and you're hit, or 30 yards away and you're hitting it with the thermo, it'll say right on the screen 30 yards. So I really like that.
I liked yours. It was good. I mean, when you got that herd of deer out there in the field, they were a pretty good ways off, but you could look through it. You could see them very clearly and identify them as deer easily.
Yeah, the AGM Taipan TM9 384 and the 284. The 384 and the 284. I believe actually you may mean the 256. Those are sensor size. Those are sensor sizes.
Those. Yeah, this is like looking at HD video.
Well, you have the 160, the 256, and the 384. Those are your 3 sensor sizes going up. And then there's even more. If you want to spend $3,000, there's even higher sensors. There's a 640. There's a 640. I know I was looking at them all weekend when I got back. But again, I don't believe thermal is going to necessarily prove a Bigfoot exists, but it's a great tool. One of the best tools you can have in the woods. You hear something moving around, you put that out there. Oh, it's a raccoon. Oh, it's a field mouse. Oh, it's a fox. Oh, it's a,
Well, when you think about it, if you're about 6 or 8 miles deep in the woods alone at night, you're going to want a really good tool with you that you can see in the dark with, or see the heat too, but thermal, because you can't see otherwise. those other things that are out there, they can see just as good as that thermal, but we can't see very well.
And I've been talking about how the technology has advanced over the years. I mean, thermal imaging is coming down in price, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
The night visions are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, the night owl I have, the one that we put out there, right? The one with remember we videotaped the bat and everything. We taped the bat.
Yeah.
Right. So I had set that up last year at another trip to the mountain. And I just set it up on a tripod, hit record, and set it up on the mountain and recorded the road. And you could see a good quarter mile down the road.
Right.
And that night owl scope is supposed to be a Gen 1, but actually it's a digital Gen 1. So it acts more like almost as a Gen 3. It's so good with once you get the illuminator up the high.
Yeah.
So they've made these so that if you keep, and now they also have, they're not green, they're white. They're white hot. So you can put it on there and have this beautiful night vision shot of the road. Like it's daylight.
Yeah.
Anything, you know, so, and the nice thing with the bat, you throw the rechargeable batteries in that unit, hit record. The SD card's got plenty of room to house it, and I let it run. I can let it run for 6 or 7 hours, so I can put a night vision spot on something and let it sit there for a while.
Well, you know, several years ago, when I was in that one business with the rat-a-tat-tat parts.
Yes. The pew-pews, I like to call them.
Yes. There's another guy in the same business. He up there, of course, he did much better than me. He was up there in Versailles, Kentucky, and he's still in business today. But he had these, I think they were Czechoslovakian military issue scopes, and they were like this big around, and it came with an illuminator. It looked like a handheld spotlight. The lens was probably 12 inches in diameter, maybe 10 to 12 inches in diameter, and it was an infrared illuminator. And oh my goodness, you know, that thing would put a spotlight way out there.
Right.
And at that time, I had no use for one. But now, if I could turn back time, man,
if I could turn back time.
Yes, I would have purchased one of those, maybe two.
If I can find my way.
Because there's no telling what the government paid for those. And you know, I think he had them. Well, they were probably like $800 or $900 when he had them, but still.
Right.
That was some technology, dude. From back in the day.
Yeah, but they were heavy and they ate up batteries like crazy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. They use lead acid batteries and stuff like that. Yeah.
The technology today, I mean, if you use that night scope, you were lucky you got 2 hours out of it.
Yeah.
You know, now
that big illuminator though, that infrared illuminator. Oh my gosh, just having that thing, you know, and using that with your thermal.
The one thing I like about this AGM unit is that it's a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, but that's because the battery pack is heavier.
Right.
And it actually, whereas the FLIR Scout, I think, had like a 4 or 5 hour use time, the AGN has a 10-hour use. Yeah. So you get a 10-hour battery. And they also, something the FLIR Scout didn't have, it also has a standby mode. So you can put everything to sleep and just hit one quick tap and it turns back on. Like that. Instead of having to boot up like the FLIR Scout would.
Save your battery, especially in the wintertime. It's important.
There's a lot of neat little features to this new one. And again, that's just advancement of the technology.
Yeah.
You know, FLIR Scout came out many years ago. Well, you know, they waited a few years, perfected it, and put it out there. And, you know, if it's a copycat, you know, I'm sorry, but at least they made the product better than the original. And that's what it's all about. It's you know, free trade is a I should say competition's a wonderful thing because you're always getting a better product for a lower price.
Yeah.
You know, and as far as the night vision scopes, you know, like I said, that the night owl is great. And that even, and both the units have ports that you could port them to other monitors or other screens or TVs and stuff like that. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah. The military surplus too used to be a cool way to go about getting cool stuff, but then I don't know, people started jacking the prices up. It's like,
Yep.
Well, the government paid $11,000 for this, so you should pay, $8,000.
Right.
No, government pays $11,000 for a hammer. Okay.
Well, not really. See, the way that works is the government pays about $10 for a hammer, and that other $7,990 goes to a black project like OSAP or or something else.
Yeah.
So that's so while we're on that topic, what would I like to see with therms? I don't know. I think Kaiser said, what advancements or improvements you'd like to see with therms? I would just like to see, consistent. I would like to see better film resolution. I would love to see thermals film in 4K.
Right. I would love to see the price come down.
Yeah, that too. Because let's face it, the technology is out there. And are they taking advantage? I mean, all right, let's say it takes a few $100s worth of tools and time and everything like that to make the parts. Why do you have to charge like 100 times over what it's worth?
Right.
Or even 50 times. Can't you just mark it up like 35%? Because I don't think on a $3,000 scope, you're putting in $2,500 worth of parts.
Yeah.
I just don't.
And the technology is really advancing, especially on the night. Now, I know the thermal's getting really good too, but I'm talking about the night vision stuff because back years ago, the coolest thing you could have was like one of these monoculars, night vision monoculars, and they had them at Walmart. That's why everybody and his brother had one. And they were terrible. They were horrible. And me and Steve, we were talking about this before the show, and I was telling him, but I'm going to tell you too, and it's the God's honest truth. I bought my son at the time, he was about 4 years old, one of these little cool secret agent spy sets, and it was like $40. And
hold on, Chris.
Yeah, man.
What did you buy him?
It was a little secret agent spy kit. It was like,
all right, there we go.
It had a little monocular night vision device. It had, I think he got a little cat pistol with it, and
so there's Chris running out in the woods with his little monocle, and you know what? I don't care what you say. Chris was hunting a Sasquatch with a little cat pistol.
But anyway, his little cheap rinky-dink kit, night vision scope, was better than my monocular that came from Walmart. It was better. I mean, you can look through there and it's like, oh, wow.
I remember the very first night vision I bought. It was a Gen 1, and it was green, and it was dark, and you couldn't read the illuminator sucked on it. Now,
green.
But here's the other beautiful thing, too, is... yes, that's right, Robert Denduven, because I have a Creative XP night vision binoculars.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they are. They have come way down.
Gone down that cheap. Oh my God!
Yes.
Everybody and his brother needs to buy one of those. I've got one, I bought mine because Steve showed me his, and I was just thrilled about it. And I got mine, and I've been thrilled to death about it.
It is like having Gen 3 night vision.
Yeah, I paid like well over $200 for mine, and I was tickled to death at that.
Yep. And now I've looked at a very similar one, right? We were talking about that before the show, that you can mount on your cap and use it as a monocle.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You didn't believe me. Oh, that couldn't be. Yeah, they are that low in price.
Yeah.
And literally this one is $48, and I watched the YouTube reviews, and they're all great, and it fits in the palm of your hand, and it's light because it's got plastic housing. But the YouTube reviewer says I beat the heck out of it, and it's still working just fine.
Well, those creative
it's like
binoculars,
and it record. And here's the thing: it records It takes pictures, and it comes with a 32 gigabyte SD card, mini SD card.
Oh man. Well, I was tickled to death to get mine and I paid well over $200 for it, and they work great.
So
And
I've been exploring.
If they're really at $58, I might just go ahead and buy another one and put it on the shelf.
What you may want to do is get that monocle for $48. So now you have something small and compact, and you have the big one you can set on a tripod and let that shoot.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing that you can set up now these independent cameras and use it like put one here, one here, one here, one there, and use that as like your own camera system for like dirt cheap, which you could buy. I mean, I remember the wired camera systems as a paranormal group. I still have I have a 16 camera wired infrared camera system sitting behind me, believe it or not, in my closet. And I have 6 rolls. I'm sorry. Not 16. I have an 8 camera system, but I have 8 rolls of 100 feet of power / coax cable that I hook real quick up, the dongles to connect all of them.
Right.
So I can wire up a house real quick and do a ghost hunt, but I've also deployed those in the woods too with my battery pack. So you can do multiple things with even that stuff. And I've even made my own custom mounts for those, because when you buy those camera systems, they only come with that little itty bitty, and they're made for drilling into walls and stuff like that, or drilling into the exteriors of homes. Well, what I did was I took one of those rubber 3-inch to 4-inch adapters that go bigger in size.
Mm-hmm.
And on the end, they have the bands that tighten. They're like pipe sleeves, right?
Right.
So what I did was on the smaller end, there's a pipe sleeve. So you would put the pipe in the receiver, and it would go to a bigger size. So what I did was I just would put those in there and tighten them down. And I would rig it and I would drill a hole in the side of them so you could pull the wires out. So what I would do is take that receiver and just pop it right over the top of a tripod. Yeah. Or if you didn't want to do that, you could just put it on a shelf. And it would work wonderful. So,
wow. Well, if the thermals come down in price like that night vision binoculars did, boy, that'd be nice. Right. Yeah. Robert said Robert said I got mine on Amazon Prime Day for $99 and thought I got a deal. 6 weeks later, it's at $58. Yeah, Robert, too, man.
And hello, Stephen from the Cryptology Paranormal Museum. Glad we got you too, Stephen. Stephen, we got to get you on the show sometime. So you're on my Facebook. Reach out to me. We'll get a time hooked up. Come on the show and talk about the museum. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I still have no idea what we're doing next week. We got, but I will tell you one other thing. We got 10 minutes left of the show, but I will tell you, I'm going to go a little off topic a bit. Is I have been one of the great things about taking a 16-hour drive, 17-hour drive both ways is I'm an Audible fan, and I listen to a lot of books, and a lot of the books I read are nonfiction, and I read a lot about criminal profiling, a lot about crime, a lot about history. Right. The other thing is too, is I have a pretty good assortment of cryptid books and paranormal books on my Audible as well. But one of the books I got, and that was what I was planning on listening to, was the new Lou Elizondo book, Imminent, which covers the UAP, which a lot of people, when they first came out with that term UAP, they thought originally it was unidentified aerial phenomenon, but they've changed that now to unidentified anomalous phenomenon because it's transmedium. It goes into water, so it's not necessarily, and it goes into space. Right. So they're not really true. So they change it to anomalous now because it's everywhere.
Why could they just leave it at UFO and leave it there?
There's a reason why, because there was a stigma attached to the term UFO. There was a stigma attached to it. And this was the federal government going, there's a stigma attached to it, the term UFO. So that's why they changed the terminology. Very, very fascinating book. And there were some really big Easter eggs in there. And one of them, even though I had my beliefs, but you were never 100% sure, was when he first got in. And this is the only giveaway I'm going to give out of this right now, is when they first interviewed him for the position, of the doctor that was in charge, the scientist that was in charge of the program, interviewed him for the position, was, so, what are your thoughts on UFOs? And he's like, well, I don't think about them.
Mm.
And then they start talking a little bit. And then they said, well, what do you think about Roswell? And he looked at him, he goes, that's real? And the doctor's like, yes.
Mm.
And then Alessandro goes, well, what about the recovery of the craft? Yes. What about the recovery of the bodies? Yes.
Mm.
So that was a huge Easter egg that
Well,
they actually confirmed Roswell was the real deal. And it made a lot of sense when Elizondo, being the military operator, was explained why all their nonsensical explanations after they announced they had caught a flying saucer.
right.
They changed it to, oh well, this was a weather balloon,
Yeah.
and then later on they said, oh, it was part of Project Mogul.
Mogul, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
and it was just so many inconsistencies. He explains it really well. And one of the things is he really tries hard not to give away any national security secrets.
Right.
He goes, he considers himself a patriot, as does David Rush. That's why they won't speak about military secrets in public, or
Right. Yeah.
things that will, or assets that will expose themselves. That's why. But they do believe there is a level of transparency that should be given to the American people, which I thought was really cool. And
see, there is a thing about the military. Once you get out of the military, you can't talk about the things you've seen that are classified, because they can recall you back into active duty and prosecute you under the UCMJ.
Yes, right. And the other thing too is that Elizondo still has his security clearance. Once you're granted a security clearance, that doesn't leave you, because you leave.
I had to turn mine in. Yeah.
They didn't like you.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know.
But
anyway, I had to turn mine in.
Yeah. That may be different for enlisted. It might
for the Air Force. I was enlisted. When my last day on base, I had to turn in I had what they call a line badge thing. I had to turn in. And you don't get to keep that.
It probably wasn't the level that Elizondo had.
And you don't walk out on the flight line without one, do you, Keith?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
if you're out there, Van Emmerich.
That's why a lot of them when they go into the private sector, they still can intermingle with government computers because they have that security clearance.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Edward Snowden. He had the security clearance, and he was in the private sector, and that's how he,
right.
Well,
anyway. It's a serious deal. We're talking about security clearances, but it's a serious deal. When I got mine, they actually called my old high school. They talked to my principal. They talked to my the teachers that I had in classes, and asked very detailed questions about me before I was granted a security clearance. It was. It's pretty interesting. I told my principal, I said, well, I hope you lied.
So
said, no.
So this Sunday, I think we are going to cover a show about the truth behind, here we go, the truth behind the Mount St. Helens eruptions and the dead Bigfoot. So.
The dead Bigfoot from Mount St. Helens?
Yes, remember, we always hear these stories of them when Mount St. Helens erupted, and we had Jay Birch on who and said there's no way that could happen because they were so busy. Well, I may have dug up some information, and we'll have to dig into that just a little bit. We're going to do probably a little bit of an analysis of the story and such. So we're going to have a real good time Sunday exploring that. That's my project going forward from here till Sunday night. And Friday, we'll be back on Friday too. So, doing what, I have no idea yet. But we will be doing something Friday, and subject schedule. Itinerary is subject to change. We may do that Friday. We may do the St. Helens story Friday, but
I'd like to hear some more information about it. If there's something new coming up or something different that I haven't heard yet,
I think you're going to find this quite interesting.
That's good.
So, because I caught part of it, I actually it was a while ago, but one thing I had to do is, and what I have been doing is I've been studying the Mount St. Helens eruption.
Yeah.
So, Jen says, my office assistant says hello. I met Jen's office assistant. She brought, and her office assistant, very friendly. And my office assistant is still itchy and still playing with his paws. Cut it out. And he looks at me like, what did I do? So, but anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. We will be back again here Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern with God knows what. But that's the fun thing about this is we're here. We always keep it squatchy and we keep it real and we keep it to the truth. And that's what we're all about. Chris, take us out real quick.
Well, I just want to say again, thanks to everybody for joining us and hanging out with us on Wednesday nights. We appreciate you, especially you coming out there Friday nights and Sunday nights. We're humbled and honored to have you guys hang out with us, and we appreciate
Absolutely.
You. If it's the first time watching, you guys make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash the like button on your way out. That helps juice that algorithm.
And on behalf of myself, I would like to thank all my members for the outpouring of love, as I did with my Facebook gaggle too the other day. Your guys' concern for me during my procedure and all that. I really appreciate that. Hey, we're through it. We did it. And we're going to be back almost full steam. I'm hoping. I'm hoping by next season I'll be out there running the way I was when I was 50 years old. Just have to be a little bit careful of how I lift things.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are. And we're honored to have all of you in our gaggle. And that includes our new subscribers as well. We love you all. We'll never steer you wrong. And if we make mistakes, we always correct them and admit them. So, folks, half of me and everybody else, have a great night. Catch you all Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Squatch-D TV. Hey, remember, keep safe, God bless, and keep on squatching. We'll see you in a bit.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.